Hi guys, hope all is well. I'm just going to do a video about what I'm looking for this week. I'm also going to go over a trade breakdown on AU, which played out really well. So first of all, just checking out the dollar high time frame. I do want to see if we can get some sort of retracement if we take all this away. We are breaking daily highs. We actually broke weekly highs as well. Just broke it. So now I do want to see if we could potentially have a little bit of retracement, just going with the high highs and high lows formation. I would like to see a pullback into potentially some discounted prices if I've got that drawn. So yeah, potentially anywhere into some discounted prices. We do actually have, I believe this is a weekly. Yeah, this is a weekly imbalance. So potentially see if we could come back down into here possibly. That would be quite nice to see. And then just look for potential high time frame buys off this point. And then just continue with market flow, because realistically, until we break this low, then this is when we'd be high time frame like bearish, you know. So high time frame bullish, intermediate, looking for intermediate bear movements for that high time frame kind of swing move. So that's what I'm looking at for dollar. If we break it down, I said last week that we had this high. This was a New York high. I wanted to see if price going into Monday was going to run that high out and see if we were actually going to start breaking a little bit lower. You can see we did actually start pumping a little bit higher. We are coming back down now. I do believe this is potentially a little bit of a mitigation potentially. We could equally just continue it from here, but I would want to see some more downside from there. US 30 last week, there was some really nice opportunities on NFP that came out. I do want to see if price can still give us some sort of retracement. I mean, high time frame. I do want to see if price can go back into this accumulation phase. This is really, really nice to see. Let's go. Yeah, on the daily, I do want to see if I can get that short move. But I do think we've just been bearish for so long. I do think we could have a little bit of retracement maybe to head back down. But overall bearish movement is what I'm looking at. You can see this EMA is running smoothly, so I would want to potentially see some sort of test and then continuations back down. So I'm dropping it down onto a 4 hour. I mean, 4 hour, you can see we're just kind of making runs lower, waiting for that short move. I do potentially think this is just from past experiences. At the beginning of the week, it does well. Let's break it down from last week. So last week it was the 29th. So Monday the 29th. Where's the 29th? Here we are, 29th. And then we ended on the 2nd last week. So where are we? Cool. So 2nd here. And you can see at the beginning of the week, we kind of had this like bullish move. Well, we had a correction, and then we kind of collapsed through it again, going into, where are we? Going into here. We had at the beginning of the week, we had kind of a correction, then the impulse again. And then you can see we had the correction, impulse, correction, impulse. So now you can see again, this was our correction that actually came up and filled a little bit high, and then we came back a little bit lower. So what I do and would potentially like to see is just continuing this bearish movement. If I'm going to be completely honest with you, I do want to see if we can get like that Monday, Tuesday going into a correction, generate just so much liquidity down here. We've got the single wick low. All of this, I do believe will get taken. But I do think we can kind of go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then going into the end of the week, we get that rollover. That could be an outcome that could come into play. I am long on this at the moment, only up into this 2 hour imbalance fill. I will break this down really quick. So you can, let's go on a 5 minute. So while you can see overall, we are kind of just correctively moving. I don't really like trading in this kind of choppy noise because the markets were shut yesterday and things, but this looked like quite a good opportunity to be fair. So, whoops. Price came from our Asian range. We rolled over into Monday morning. You can see we had this distribution. We had that final distribution at the end. You can see we had these lows just got ran out. And then going into London, we came up, we took out this Asian high, and we actually broke structures 5 minutes. So I am expecting to potentially just continue with this bullish correction for the time being. So you can see going into London session, this is where we had that first bulk and that big range of motion. You can see this is our accumulation, which played off from. A lot of people probably would have been buying off of this, and you can see we just manipulated this false demand that was created in the Asian, because this is technically our Asian low. This is when market opened. So you can see going into London, price came up. We came back and tested super nicely into this demand level. And as soon as we came off of this demand level, we had quite a big push impulse. So price came up. And then I did notice that we had this small demand in here, small supply here, and then we did actually start breaking that, and then we were mitigating out of this position in here. So price came down, and we just filled like the tiny like imbalance in here. So I literally just got my entry in here, stops just below the lows of 16 pips, and then just looking for that continuation to the upside. You can see from this point, on a 15-minute, really nice clean. We had liquidity buildup. We had that big pump, Meribuzu, no wick. There's a wick at the bottom, but there's no wick, which is telling me just pure selling buying pressure. You can see we enticed the buys, we manipulated, we mitigated, and now we're looking for actually that continuation. So this is really just how simple it actually can be, just looking for like simple basic things and just waiting for things to play out. As long as you've got your breakthrough structure, you're finding some sort of accumulation or distribution that you can be looking to trade and test from, entries, and then just continuations. I mean, equally, this is the market, so for all I know, this could really die. But my stops are at break even, so now I am just kind of going to be looking for that continuation move, because you can actually get really nice moves going in the beginning of the week. I mean, I did do a video about this before, but before the big sell-off, was it? Yeah, so all in here, I was actually catching some really nice trades, just like lower time frame minutes, catching up into like highs and things like that. So there are quite a few like little opportunities that you can be placing. This is potentially a 1 to 16, so making 60 times my risk. I potentially could even see this running up a little bit higher, maybe into, well, we do technically still have that hourly order up there, so even price could run up 408 pips. That's a 1 to 30. Obviously, I'm not expecting it to run 1 to 30. But I would like to see what is happening. You can also see as well my EMA price is actually closing over the EMA. For any of you that watch my videos, I'm not a massive EMA user, but sometimes just why not add to a confluence, you know, just see how things go. Price is looking really nice at the moment, so I do want to just see continuations to then roll over going into next week. So AU, this is a really nice trade. We had just been selling off. There was, I believe it was on like a 5 hour. Yeah. So ever since we came into this 5 hour, price has just been selling bearish. And overall, I am expecting price to come into this 6 hour zone. I'm looking for potential shorts into that zone. Whether we'll get that right now, I'm not 100%. I am not in this trade anymore. So it was just basic, simple following. Again, what did I say before? Looking for breaks of structure and anywhere from where you have an accumulation or kind of a distribution area. So you can see we're just creating high highs and high lows. This is our distribution. You can see there's a really nice distribution that played out in here, and price continued to roll over. This is a strong area for mitigations, because in order to create a wide cup, there needs to be quite a lot of orders that are in and around these areas. And this is basically nothing more than just like a supply and demand area. So price came in, we had a small mitigation, price came down, we generated more liquidity in the form of highs in here. Again, all of these lows, we were just creating, generating so much liquidity down in here. We had NFP, price came up, we did come back down. Then we came up one more time going into New York Open. And then after New York Open, we rolled over, created a gap going into Monday, generating just more liquidity. And then as it was Labor Day yesterday, and it's a national bank holiday in America, price came up into the Asian. We tested, I was actually looking off a 5-minute test, but I did only go off this hourly, just because I have seen the market just feel just imbalances like that sometimes, and it can be quite frustrating when you've got an order a little bit higher, a little bit lower, and just for the sake of just using a bit of a wider stop loss, it can save you potential misses like that. But this was nothing more than just a simple imbalance fill. Price coming up, was waiting for all of these lows to get taken. You can see price come in 2 a.m. Open of London and open of Asian. Price come down and we game take at that final low. That was a 1 to 4. Let's go. Pound Swiss, I'm still not 100% on what's happening. We're obviously looking like we are pushing up into areas. We do have imbalances up here, which price could actually come and fill a little bit deeper. But just for the time being, this is my first point, which I'm waiting for price to come into. And if we go high, then we can assess kind of what's happening in and around here. But as you can see, we are just manipulating lows. We are breaking and pushing lower. There was a really nice opportunity in here for NFP last week. Let's go in here. So NFP, price came up, we push, we test, and then we start to come back down. So we had our test, price came back down. You can see so many opportunities within here. This is the supply that kind of caused this break. And then going in from there, we had a nice 15-minute play as well. 3 potential entries you could have caught. And I actually was looking for price to come into this 15-minute in here. So potential 80 pips, really nice play. And you can just see, just following just the small and whole mitigation trails. The only reason why I was expecting this short to come through is because we'd ran the highs. We'd ran the highs in here. This is our last 5-minute small move. If I just go down, you can see that a little bit clearly. So you can see just that single wick high imbalance underneath it. This was the supply that caused this break of this demand. Price came down and generated more liquidities. We came up, NFP excuse to push price around. Lows, looking at the mitigations following down as it was going into New York Open, and we just continued and we dropped off. So from here now, obviously price is pushing up higher, obviously invalidating a lot of this supply. We're probably going to be coming into some high time frame liquidity or supply. I'm going to sit and wait just for the moment, just kind of give me a bit more clear side. Pound is bearish anyway, so I'm just going to be looking for just continuations from this point out, but I do want to wait and see if I can get a bit more of a clear footprint from price. Euro GBP, I was looking to see if we were going to come in to a 5-minute zone, which is here following this whole mitigation trail. Came really close, didn't come close enough, unfortunately, but that is what that is. We came, what, 5 pips away. And yeah, you can see that this actually was a distribution that was playing out. That was really, really nice. So distribution, what we're waiting for, distribution is nothing more than a manipulation of the highs and then a break structure to the upside. Admittedly, this was actually quite a low breaker structure and we didn't really get a high test, but you can still see and notice that we were just manipulating each time. And I was looking for this zone because there was like a 9-minute, I think. Let me go to a 9-minute. Yeah, a 9-minute zone that I was looking at, which is really, really nice. Obviously, going into NFP, price manipulated that, and then we just had discontinuations and breaks lower and lower. So right now, I was actually looking at this zone. This is our reaccumulation area. This reaccumulation invalidated this supply. So this is the new demand that we actually really should be looking for some sort of tests. So I do want to see if price is going to come back into here, whether we are actually going to continue higher, because we do have overall high time frame equal highs running at the moment with this high and this high up here. Well, near enough pretty much equal highs. So this is going to be the point. Are we going to break that? Or are we going to come down a bit lower? I could see price dying strongly equally. I equally could see price coming up a bit more, because if we're looking, this is just nothing more than a big correction, and we have actually started to shift structures. So with this being a bit of a shift, I was expecting price to come down and test something whether we are actually going to test in that zone or if we're going to test higher. You can see potentially look for some tests of this if price does start breaking below. Again, I am really going to wait. If I don't know or I'm unsure, then I do just wait, because there's no point forcing trades because you just lose. It's just a waste of time. So that is what I'm looking at for this week. I'm still waiting to see what AU does. I still want to see what US30 does, what kind of plays we get off that. But other than that, I will let you guys know and keep everyone updated. If you guys got any questions, please let me know and feel free to fire away. All right, guys.